You are watching news today here on your Joy News channel Multi TV. Let's talk politics now. The Progressive People's Party has named former winner of the Miss Ghana beauty pageant, Bridget Juku, as its running mate for the upcoming polls. The party says it is confident in the ability of Ms. Juku to deliver the needed votes during the 2016 general elections. But who is Bridget Juku? Here's a news desk report.
Bridget Juku is the founder and executive director of Mentoring Women Ghana (MWG), a non-profit organization she launched 1 year after participating in Vital Voices Fortune, U.S. State Department Global Women's Mentoring Partnership in 2008. She was Miss Ghana 1991 for almost 12 years. Bridget Juku was the general manager of Aviation Social Center, a fitness and recreational center in Accra, where she introduced various innovative fitness programs and events into this niche industry in Ghana. She has since August 2010 established Recreational Facilities Management Company, which manages various leisure, fitness and sports facilities in the capital. She's a board member of Inactus Ghana. She part won the Fortune Goldman Sachs Global Women's Leadership Award in 2008 for her initiative to found Hope Sisters Basketball Club. Previously, she served with Ashanti Goldfields Company Limited as liaison officer on the Gator project in Tanzania at the Dar es Salaam office. She also worked with SC Johnson Works as a brand manager. For 2.5 years, she ran her own public relations and events management company, Protocol Ventures. She maintains a regular column, Manners Matter, in the Ghanaian weekly The Mirror, and continues to give presentations to various groups on manners, courteous behavior and etiquette, and also on fitness and healthy lifestyle.
That was a news desk report. But how is this decision likely to affect the chances of the Progressive People's Party in the upcoming elections? Dr. Evan Sagredako is a senior lecturer at the Political Science Department of the University of Ghana.
They may have to have some positive spillover effect, looking at the capacity of even the flag bearer and the fact that he seems to be hitting the nail right on the head with his policy prescriptions. They seem to resonate with the broad masses. And as to whether these broad acceptance will resonate with the broad masses is something that we are going to see in the next elections. But I will be expecting that they will still deliver. They will still start as underdogs, nevertheless. But they are likely to improve on their standing overall. It depends on how they will craft their message. It depends on how they will be consistent with their message, and it depends on how they will be able to market the individual's concern. And I will also be interested in the chemistry, whether the two of them can work effectively, and will not be speaking across purpose on a number of critical issues. Yes, they will start as underdogs, but let's see what really happens. Because if they were able to perform in the last elections, 2012, barely, a few months leading, when they really had to hit the ground running with all the message, the registration of vote supporters among others, they were able to do that. We expect that this time around they will improve upon their performance, knowing very well that major political parties have had problems. We're expecting that the CPP will be the third force, and that is still with the hope, and we're just hoping. But within the politics of the state, nobody has a divine right to anything. So you are going to be rewarded based on your work, your output. And so let's see what happens, and then we'll come back
And indeed, we'll be bringing you some more on this very story because we do know that the discussions are now beginning. Do stay tuned to our news and news analysis program, The Pulse, which airs at 3 p.m. here on your election headquarters, your Joy News channel. But away from that now, and as part of efforts to promote issue-based campaigns in this year's general elections, the Media Foundation for West Africa has engaged with the political party communicators in the Ashanti region to discourage them from engaging in politics of insults. Representatives of a number of political parties, including the governing NDC and the opposition NPP, were in attendance. Kwesi Debra has more in the following report.
For Party communicators drawn from the MPP, NDC, CPP, APC, GCPP, PPP, and NDP in the Ashanti region met with the Media Foundation for West Africa to discuss ways to minimize the use of indecent language on the airwaves. The program manager, Mrs. Dora Mauto, said the foundation is equipped with the necessary tools to check the airwaves.
News bulletins and political and current affairs discussion programs. That is what this project is about, because it's usually on these platforms that people are interviewed. People are brought into the studios to discuss issues, and callers sometimes call in to also make contributions. So those are the programs we are monitoring. We are not monitoring music because people don't often get a chance to go and discuss anything music. They can have entertainment programs, they can have sports programs or any other program, but our primary concern is news bulletins and discussion programs on the stations.
Political party communicators also had these to say.
So that, I mean, it doesn't go, it is not limited to just, I mean, signaling that this is what is wrong. But apart from that, what do? Can we bring the political parties, said that they will be able to, they themselves?
We would always have people who may want to do the excesses. And for that reason, it is good to be prompted. We are political parties that are charting a path. Sometimes we may not know the path.
One of my problems is that there are other entertainment programs and other programs on radio where there can be foul languages. So if you assign someone to monitor a program and you make it specific that it should be the newscasting, then, or the political program, and there is a foul language on any other show apart from these specified shows, how would those programs or those?
But the only problem I have is after the issue has been identified, especially those that are incriminating. I strongly believe it shouldn't just be naming and shaming, but some certain steps have to be taken afterwards.
Like what?
If possible, I suggested at the program, even if legal.
I am not convinced with their definition for insult. You know, it looks like the term hard criticism of government and other opposition parties as insult. But as an opposition party, we have to bring to bear what the government is not doing right. We have to say it as it is.
Reporting for Joy News, Kwesi Deborah.
To some more stories now, and residents of Kumawu in the Ashanti region are appealing to the National House of Chiefs to facilitate efforts towards ending a raging chieftaincy dispute in the area. The people, mostly made of the youth, want the House of Chiefs to make public documents confirming the duly installed chief has been gazetted. The status of Burma Asumadu Sechi, who has sworn the oath of allegiance to the Asantene, is being challenged by a rival claimant to the Kumawu stool. Mahmoud Mohamed Nuruddin has more in the following report.
The youth are worried persistent opposition to Berima Asumadu Sachi II's authority is drawing back development in the town. Their fear is compounded by suggestions the rival claimant has allegedly been duly admitted by the House of Chiefs. Here is a spokesperson for the youth group, David Asumadu.
Today, our case is simple. We would like to see an end to all litigations involving the current chieftaincy disputes. We want Kumawu to be able to unite behind a legitimate king who, with the help of the subjects home and abroad, can bring about unity, prosperity for all the developmental programs that can make a lifelong difference in the lives of the average subjects of this stool. We did not see a single development that benefited anyone in Kumawu under Berima Asumadu Sechi II. Development, because there was always constant litigation throughout his time as Kumawu. We were hoping that there would be transparency in choosing of a new king after Asumadu Sechi's death.
They want the National House of Chiefs to furnish them with a certified copy of the Chieftaincy declaration forms to calm nerves in the town.
We know that to be gazetted by the National House of Chiefs, a new king must fill the Chieftaincy declaration form. Today we are asking the National House of Chiefs to furnish us with a certified copy of the Chieftaincy declaration form filled out by Dr. Yaosafo. The filled out form or forms is a public record which anyone, especially the subjects of the stool, are entitled to. From our understanding, a public record is defined as any information, minutes, files, accounts, or other records which a governmental body is required to maintain and which must be accessible to scrutiny by the public. Whichever form Dr. Yaosafo failed to facilitate his gazetting as a paramount chief of Kumawu traditional area constitutes a public record. Therefore, it must be made available for scrutiny. If the National House of Chiefs complies by providing us with the necessary documents that we have requested, and if it proves to be genuine, we would not hesitate to advise all parties involved in the Kumawu Chieftaincy dispute to let go of this dispute from that point onwards, and all Kumawuman subjects should embrace him wholeheartedly for the sake of peace and unity.
Some of the residents also shared their frustrations.
We are pleading with the government to ensure a person who is not gazetted steps down for the rightful person to rule.
Kumawu has been in the media for bad reasons over a period of time now. The youth, which consists those living in Ghana and abroad, want the issue to be addressed appropriately. They say they will not leave stone unturned in their quest to bring peace and unity in the town. Mahmoud Mohammed Nuruddin reporting.
You're still watching News Today here on your Joy News channel on Multi TV. It's also available on your Go TV channel 144 and your DSTV channel 421. We're taking a break. We'll return shortly with some more stories. Stay with us. Many thanks for staying with us here on News Today to some more stories now. And staff of the Volta River Authority have rolled out a series of activities to register their displeasure with what they say is the Power Ministry's undue interference with the assets of the authority. Now, according to their group workers, government has planned ceding 3 of its assets to a third party. But the Workers Staff Association are vehemently opposed to this move and are calling on the ministry to rescind its decision. Let's get onto the phone lines now and get some more on this from the Greater Accra chairman of the VRA Union in the person of Jerry Nelson Nete, who joins us live now with some more on this. Mr. Nete, good morning, good afternoon. Many thanks for joining us here on News Today.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Right, so now we are told that you are rolling out a series of activities or measures to ensure that these property that belong to the VRA are returned. Can you take us through what these plans are?
Currently, I wouldn't want to delve into those issues now because we've been invited to the Power Ministry to have some talks with the ministry. I've spoken to your reporter this morning, telling him that after the meeting, then we can meet the press and then we tell them our plan. We don't want a situation where our issues would be distorted. So we have a command center where we want to have one voice and then speak to the press. We understand that you guys will need some more information as to what we're pressing for.
Indeed.
We have monitored the news and then we think that the issues that reported on yesterday in the evening is as it is. And the 3 issues that you mentioned, that's the T3 plant, the Kuntema land, and then the MRP land are these issues that we're talking about. As I told you earlier, I think at 2 o'clock we have a meeting at the ministry. So when we are done with the meeting, then we can speak to the press.
Indeed. But Mr. Nete, I just wanted to find out, I do know that last night there was a delegation from government that met with your union and a few other workers. What was discussed at this meeting?
I wasn't privy to that meeting. I don't think the ministry met as they might have come to meet the management, not the staff groups.
Okay, so as things stand now, the staff, you've been unable to really table your concerns before the ministry.
I think I've told you that we're meeting later this afternoon.
No, I'm asking, as things stand now, have you been able to table your concerns to the ministry?
When we go to the meeting, that is when we'll get the opportunity to have those discussions with the ministry.
Right. Okay. Senator, many thanks for your time on News Today this afternoon. And that's Jerry Nelson Nate. He is the Greater Accra chairman for the VRA Union. Well, earlier today, my colleague Ernest Kojomenu visited the headquarters for the Water River Authority because we were told that there was supposed to be a demonstration there this morning. Well, he's been following this story keenly. He's joined me now in studio to tell us more on what he saw earlier today when he visited the premises. And it's good afternoon, many thanks for joining us. So, indeed, what was the situation when you went to the VRA headquarters today?
So, this morning, it was what I will call a peaceful protest because workers were there. They were going about their normal duties, but they were clad in red, some with handbands and, you know, scarves all over, just indicating, registering their displeasure with what they call an undue interference with from the Power Ministry in the attempt to cede off its assets to a third party. We do know, Kwabna, that the third party include Mary, we have the Sonon Asogli, as well as the Ghana Power Company. So these are the three assets, the three companies that the assets are likely to be ceded to. Now, yes, it started yesterday with a meeting amongst the staff themselves, and they were very much agitated. So it took leadership to calm them down, to tell them that, look, let's roll out a program. I will start today with a protest. And if government is not heeding to our plea, we intensify. So it's just started today. They are supposed to meet with government later this afternoon. But we do know that if government does not heed to their plea, it might get worse tomorrow. In fact, they want to go to the extent of shutting down the system and going back home. You will hear some say, if doctors can go on strike and nobody holds them accountable, we can also close down the system and go back home. And so for them, it's a matter of government respecting them for who they are and respecting the laws. They quote the act that established the VRA as being an autonomous body. And so they do not think that it's within the purview of the Power Ministry to interfere in this, to talk of even ceding their assets. If at all this should be done, for them, it must be transparent. They must be involved in the process because they have invested into these assets. And Kwabna, I try to get a sense of how they're approaching this meeting. And they tell me, well, they are for the country. Anything that's in the interest of Ghana, they go for it. And so we're hoping that by close of day today, we'll have some information from the Workers' Union and the ministry as well, because the Power Ministry indicated yesterday that it was just a matter of miscommunication. We look forward to, we see how this will pan out, Kablan.
All right. Ernest Kojomenu, many thanks for that update. And that's my colleague Ernest Kojomenu, who has been bringing us some more on that very action by the VRA workers. Well, we are told that meeting is at 2 o'clock. We're bringing you some more on this also at 3 p.m. here on our News Analysis program, The Pulse. Now, agitating workers of State Broadcaster GBC are also today meeting with officials of the Communications Ministry over their calls for the dissolution of the current board headed by Richard Kwame Asante. Now, the workers accuse the board of operating a system that defeats the core mandate of the corporation. We will, in subsequent bulletins, be bringing you some more on this story. To some more stories now, and with just a day for Parliament to go on recess, the House is saddled with 19 motions awaiting passage and consideration of 5 bills. Key among them is the approval of the supplementary estimates and the presidential transition bill, as well as a decision on contempt charge against a graphic reporter. Let's get some more now from a parliamentary correspondent, Elton Bobe, who joins us on phone with those details. Elton Bobe, good afternoon. Many thanks for joining us. So, indeed, can you run us through the many things that are to be considered even before the House goes on recess?
Well, it's a tall list. 19 motions, like you said. We have the supplementary estimates for 2016. There's a report of the Appointments Committee, also of the Privileges Committee. There's a motion for Parliament to ratify the transfer of sentenced persons agreement between Ghana and the UK. There's some motion seeking approval for some money to go into the construction of the Obechebe Lamte cycle and few others. But just some few minutes ago, the Attorney General moved a motion for the second review of the Presidential Transition Amendment Bill 2016. Only 3 issues are involved here. First has to do with the number of persons a president-elect in waiting can appoint to the transition team. In the Presidential Act, it gives a ceiling of 22. Now, what this bill is seeking to do is to reduce it to 13. The reason is that they want to save costs. There's also the issue about when incoming members of parliament, those who've been elected, when would they take office before the dissolution of the existing parliament. In the Presidential Act, it says that that should be done 2 days before the swearing in of the president. Now, that, according to them, has brought about some constitutional crisis, where after them taking office, you will be saddled with the situation where you have 2 separate sitting members of parliament, that is those who are outgoing and those who are incoming. So to avoid that constitutional crisis, what they've done is to reduce when the incoming members of parliament will take office, and that is from 2 days to now 12 hours before the swearing in of a new president. They've also given powers to the Administrator General, who is responsible for government estates, and he, under this bill, has been given powers to evict public officers who stay in government bungalows 3 months after they leave office. And so these are, the key issues in the bill that in the few hours to come, the constitution will start, and then we will know whether Parliament as a group will vote to approve of it.
We do know that these considerations are quite many. There are a few things that are currently before the House. Does it appear that the House will be able to take a look at all these 19 motions currently before it, before they go on recess?
It is not possible. Some of them will have to come back to the House when they return in September. But the key ones, the urgent ones, like the supplementary estimates for 2016, because government required the money to undertake certain projects, they will have to, approve of it. Fortunately, it has only 2 clauses, which means that it may not take so long a time in the House for them to approve of it. Now, once they are done with it, the next stage will be for the House to now approve the appropriation bill. The appropriation bill will clearly spell out what the money will be used for. Those are the issues that they need to deal with. And then few other bills already. Yesterday, they passed the Technical Universities bill, and they are looking at the income tax and then the customs amendment bill, because you need to pass these bills before you can utilize the money you are asking Parliament to approve for you. Okay. Because it's been extended sitting since last week, members have been made aware that they need to deal with these businesses before they can go on recess. The date for the recess is tomorrow, but my information is that if they are able to deal with the matters today, they may rise today.
Okay. Many thanks for that update. Elton Brobe, who joined us from Parliament with some more. Well, he's saying that the Parliament now needs to consider about 19 motions before they're able to go on recess. There's some more on this when you visit our portal, www.myjoyonline.com. But away from that to some other stories now, and a committee has been set up to oversee the relocation of illegal and small-scale miners from Anglo-Gold Ashanti Obuasi mines concession. Invasion of the mine by Galamsey operators has often caused death from clashes between mine security personnel and intruders. Anglo-Gold Ashanti has subsequently sued government at the International Center for Settlement of Investment Disputes over security concerns at their Obuasi concession. Parliamentary has more in the following report.
The 15-member team will develop and implement a roadmap for peaceful exit of unlicensed small-scale miners to a designated site surrendered by Anglo-Gold Ashanti. It will also assist the Minerals Commission to allocate concessions to small-scale mining interests. The committee, which is chaired by Engineer Kweku Frempong-Kuma, has 3 representatives, each from the Minerals Commission, small-scale miners, and Anglo-Gold Ashanti, as well as 2 representatives from the Obuasi Obuasi Municipal Assembly, and a representative each from the police, Ghana Chamber of Mines, and Adansi Traditional Council. The inauguration of the committee comes days after a demarcation exercise to release land to unlicensed miners. The Minerals Commission assured it will prevent the Obuasi mine issue from degenerating into crisis amid lamentation over effects of illegal mining. Chief Executive Dr. Tony Obin made the commitment in a speech read on his behalf by the Director of Policy, Planning, Monitoring and Evaluation of the Commission.
In the very recent past, we've all witnessed the devastation that Galamsey has caused to some, if not most, of our water bodies, and its effects on the production and supply of water to various communities countrywide. There has also been casualties and loss of lives arising from conflicts in some areas where unlicensed illegal small-scale miners carry out their operations. And I'm sure you are very much aware of the fatality that occurred on this mine when our own brother John Osu, who had served this company for so many years, had to lose his life. Clearly, this is a problem, and as a commission, we have been working with the support of all our key stakeholders to prevent it from generating into a crisis. The problem we have at Obuasi currently is a crisis or a near crisis situation which calls for immediate solution or immediate attention. It is clear that we need to strengthen, broaden and coordinate better our efforts in tackling the challenge of illegal mining in the country. And I know measures have been put in place for the short, medium to long-term solutions.
Meanwhile, Adansehene Opejakotri Bonsra Efriye II is urging government to commit itself to the decisions of the committee. According to him, government has over the years failed to protect Anglo-Gold Ashanti concessions.
Obuasi is in danger right now. Obuasi and Adansi and Ghana in general is in trouble. We as traditional rulers cannot sit down for people to do whatever they like when we have a government that controls the security forces. So where are we? Where is the government? This is the government in power. As a traditional ruler, I can say anything. I don't care. It's the government's responsibility to make sure the police controls Obuasi if there's a problem. Because the first person I call is the police if I hear anything about Galamsey or anything of that sort. And as soon as I was installed, I took it upon myself to stop this Galamsey. If I can't stop it, at least I wanted to minimize it. We all depend on Obuasi for our livelihood. So if we cannot stop what is going on currently at Obuasi, then why are we all here?
The committee has 1 month to submit its reports.
You're still watching News Today here on your Join News channel on Multi TV. Time for another break. When we come back, we'll bring you some business updates. Stay with us.